Hello, everyone. I'm Estela Casas, creative brand strategist for the Viva Auto Group family of dealerships. Thanks for listening to the VivaStyle podcast, where we have interesting conversations about the automotive industry that provides hundreds of jobs in the borderland. Let's talk VivaStyle. And so joining us this morning is Michelle Sotelo. She is with WeBuyCarsElPaso.com, and she's the acquisition team member. And that's a big title, and she'll explain it to us in a little bit. But when we talked earlier this week, you talked about the mighty mujeres, and you are certainly a mighty mujer, because I heard a lot of great things about Michelle when we went out to dinner the other night, and you are impressive. So tell everybody what you do exactly.
So, good morning. First of all, thank you very much for having me here, Mrs. Sotelo, once more. So, I'm an acquisition team manager for the We Buy Cars El Paso, which is a new buying center that has great offers for any and every customer. I mean, we're talking military, we're talking single mothers, married couples that are starting their families and that they're selling their vehicles to get houses, to get their kids through college, through, just cars that are sitting there in their garage saying, hey, well, I'll probably use it someday. But no, we actually buy vehicles to make sure that the customers get their checks instantly. So that's, having a vehicle in the garage while having a check in the bank, it's a win-win for us. So we get the vehicles, we recondition them.
They get the check.
They get the check, they move on, we move on, and then they come back to us, they try to get another vehicle. So it's a cycle that we try to make it as a family, making their needs our priority and making sure that they are able to come back to us whenever they do need another vehicle because they just sold theirs. So it's a really exciting project.
So you told me several stories. You told me several stories about what makes this job special. And, everybody has a story, and we like to tell stories in this podcast because that's what we're all about, right?
Yes.
We all have a story on what motivates us, what makes us show up for work every day, what makes us wake up and put our clothes on. Because during COVID and now post-COVID, it's been very trying. Everybody's life changed and continues to evolve. So we're all walking into this new world, and like you said, we've had our cars parked because a lot of people had been working from home, and now they are readjusting their lives, readjusting their finances, while still on the road and on that path. So you shared some interesting stories with me the other day. You want to share them this morning with us?
Yeah, so I was telling Mrs. Stella that I had a very special and unique customer that was in the military. He was going through thick and thin. I understand a lot of situations in the military, they try to, form their families, and at times it's not possible because they're deploying or because, they're just out there being, warriors for us, for us to be able to do what we do. And he was going through a very hard time. He was going through a situation where he was being separated and money was tight. So he had a vehicle that was his father's vehicle, had passed away, and he wanted to get some money. It was a very hard decision for him because it was a sentimental value.
Absolutely.
We can never put a value to a vehicle that has so much emotion to it.
But sometimes you have to step back because you need the money. It's better to sell that car or sell something or get rid of that instead of having to take out a loan.
That is correct. So, that's pretty much what he told us because he thought about it so many days and probably months. So he finally came back to El Paso. He sold the vehicle. He got his money. And it was kind of hard to get the vehicle for me because I try to, familiarize with the situations for every customer. But it's sometimes hard to give that check out because I know that it's more emotion to them receiving, a check for something so emotional than spending that money. But it is, sometimes what it has to be, and they move on, and he got the check, and we're still in contact. I do have another person. He's a lovely little lady. She's always sending me through our automated message prayers that's saying, Happy Easter. And we already we already bought the car months ago. And she still every month or possibly like every 2 weeks, she still contacts us. It's, we record her messages through our automated system. And I'm here sometimes thinking, oh my gosh, she just goes again, I need to answer this message, right away. But when I receive it or when I read it, her name is Diciembre. So when I read it, it's kind of like, oh, winter, my birthday. And
Aw.
the message itself, it's beautiful. I mean, it's, may God bless you all and thank you very much. And she's always thanking us because apparently, we helped her.
Well, no, you made a connection with her.
Oh, yeah.
You know
definitely.
that check is just the cherry on top of that connection that you made with her. She felt special, and that's what you all try to do. We buy cars elpaso.com, at Ford, at Viva Ford, and any of our dealerships. Is it we hope to try and make people feel special and make that connection that goes beyond that check that they received, or that card that they turn in, that car that they purchased from us, right?
Right.
I think that's the goal. Is that what makes you get up in the morning and show up for work?
That really does. I mean, it's something really special that I hadn't had anywhere else. Even, working at other places, calling people. This is a special connection because you interact with them and you go through them with the banking, you go through them with their payoffs, you go with them with the customers at the bank saying, no, I can't give you that. And, we are like, no, let me take care of it. And they're so grateful at times because they don't want to handle that situation because it's hard to talk about money, especially in this, times that, everything is, you have to make an appointment, or I can't, assist you right now. You have to make an appointment at a branch. And so it's really hard. So I have a great group of ladies in my team and two young men, and they're like that. I try to hire people that will get invested personally with the
It's
customer.
beyond the paycheck,
It's
right?
beyond their paycheck. So I have a great team at every store, and I tell them all the time, it's about customer service. It's about not you and your commission. It's about you interacting with the customer, and that customer will potentially get you other customers. And it's true. I had a customer that worked for the VA, and he referred me 15 other customers in a month or two. So we
Because
had
you made an impact.
yeah, and he was referring me up and down, and it was really nice. I still get contact with him, once in a while. He says, "Hey, I still have another car," and I was like, "Yeah, bring it in, and I will definitely help you." And he led me to another customer that also personally interacted. So I have a lot of customers. I mean, I try to remember all their names, but I know their cars. And I know, like, yeah, I sold you this, I don't know, this Honda Civic. And I'll go, oh, yes, I remember. Yes, of course, Mr. So-and-so, bring it in. And they still stop by. We actually had other customers bring us lunch, because we've been there with the bank for like 2-3 hours on the phone. And we had a couple of grateful customers that say, hey, let me bring you some Starbucks, or and I was like, no, thank you. But they're invested as well because our buying center is little, but it's home.
So we have a buying center on the east side and we have a buying center on the west side. So you can take your cars there. So how does it all work? I drive in my car, and do I need to bring a driver's license? Do I need the title? Do I need check stubs? What all do I need besides a car to turn it in? Does it have to be nice and clean? Does it have to be you should see I have a bunch of stuff in the trunk. I mean, how does this all work? Take me through the process.
So, I don't require anything as is when the customer is coming in for the first time because I don't want them to feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
So, but basically the process is super simple. They just bring in the vehicle in the condition, whatever condition it is.
I would wash it and take out all the stuff. Well, you know what? But but these are sometimes emotional stuff, because I guess that sometimes you drive by and you say, we buy cars elpaso.com, and you've kind of sort of learned a little bit about it, but you go, okay, today's a day. And I'm not quite prepared, but it's an emotional decision, because buying a car, selling a car is your probably the most expensive thing that you have next to your home, that mortgage payment.
Yeah, we've had customers that, for whatever reason, they needed a car, maybe like 2 years ago, and they needed, high percent rate, or their credit score wasn't that good. So they're struggling to pay that monthly payment. So what I like to tell them is, okay, well, you've been paying already 2 years, your credit score might be a little better. So we try to transition them into another car that would be more comfortable with the payment. And I have a great team of agents in all the dealerships. I mean, I have called possibly many times with all of them. But my main location is on the west side. It's at Ford. And my team there for the sales reps are awesome. They're amazing. I had another story, another customer that came in, and, his credit score wasn't that great. And he had gone to other dealerships to try to see what they could offer him. So finally he just decided, okay, I'm just going to sell. I'm just going to sell because I can't with the payment anymore. And, you know, we were there.
I need to get out of this.
They need to get out of it. And he was telling us this amazing story about, you know, him putting his kids through college. He was a widow and he was struggling. He had, you know, a couple of children and he was almost, you know, crying. We were crying with him. And, you know, he was like, I really love my car. Like, I really do, but I can't afford it. So there was a sales rep there that brought in another customer. He's like, Mr. Customer, don't worry. We got it from here. And I was like, well, you know, he just told us that, you know, he already went other places. They can, and me thinking, you know, maybe we can't help him.
Right.
But no, I was
It's
very
a difficult
wrong.
case.
I
It
was
was a
very
difficult
wrong.
case. Okay.
Yes, he walked out of there not even an hour later with another car, and the payment was comfortable. Where to the point that, you know, he came back and he says, "Thank you very much." I mean, I didn't do anything. It was a sales rep, but it was really it was a really beautiful part of that story because I was like, oh my God, he came here, you know, sadly turning in his vehicle,
The last resort.
and he came out with an opportunity. So that
Fast, lifted, luxurious, fun and friendly to the environment. The Viva Auto Group has a special vehicle just for you.
We don't just sell cars, it's about making a connection and helping our community.
With our mighty mujeres, high school seniors, and triathletes. Viva invests in our people because we are driven by purpose and vision. What's your Viva style? It's what you want it to be. So you drive in, I hand you over the keys to the car, and then what's next?
we go outside, we do an evaluation. The customer is always welcome to come with us.
You check for hail damage.
We check for hail damage. We try to do our best to make sure that the car is in condition to be able to run it. Mm-hmm. And then we come back, we go ahead and submit our paperwork and let the customer know the offer. And right there and there, if they say yes, it just takes another maybe 5 to 10 minutes to go ahead and do the paperwork and an hour to get his check. So they just need his driver's license. Okay. If they have the title. Or if you have a payoff, we'll go ahead and call the bank for you and they'll fax us over or email us a payoff form, which only takes maybe like the amount of time to get to a representative, and that's it.
So what happens to that car? So I sold you my car, I got my check, bye, thank you very much. What happens to that car?
The vehicle does go through a process in where, of course, it's re-inspected and make sure that everything's running. If it's a vehicle that we can retail, we'll resell the vehicle. If it's a vehicle that we would need to not dispose of, but not
like
be able
recondition,
then it would go through our auction. And most of the time, I kind of want to say, well, if it goes to the auction, I can just give you that.
Right.
But I mean, there's a couple of things that need to be with the process, fees and stuff like that. So we do try. I get in trouble a lot sometimes.
You get in trouble a lot. The boss is down
so.
the hallway, so he's going to hear you say that you get in
trouble. But no, yeah, we really do try. I mean, to me, it's really important to make sure that I can satisfy the customer needs, because I know if I take care of him once, they'll always come back to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is the toughest part of your job?
I think the toughest part of my job is not being able to interact personally with every kind of customer. I know that, we're going through a lot of customers and I have a lot of calls. There's a lot of agencies. There's so me being able to tell my team personally there, interact. It's wonderful. But being on the outside and having customers text me and say, hey, I want an offer, it's kind of hard, for me not to be able to explain to them where we're coming from, what's our core and what our values are. So sometimes that's a little difficult. But we always try to bring the customer in and explain to them what's going on.
Well, I hear a lot of great things that you're doing at WeBuyCarsElPaso.com at the Viva Ford Center here on the west side, and our new location at Nissan, I understand. Are there different challenges? One on the west side and one on the east side. Do we get better cars at one place? Do we get worse cars at another place? What do you think the balance is on good cars or bad cars?
Well, it's like a bad car. It's just the year and the model. Maybe the mileage is what will affect the offer. A lot of customers think that if the vehicle just sits at the garage, is gonna never depreciate. But that's not true. On the contrary, if the vehicle is not running, then there's a lot of issues that might come up. Like gas pumps and gaskets and the engine and transmission not working because it's been sitting there for so long. So I encourage everybody to please call me. 915-834-2933 to be able to get that,
What was it? You said that too fast. 915.
Yes, 834
834
2933.
2933. 915-834-2933. If you have a car in the garage that hasn't been running, take it out, around the neighborhood so it get the gas pumping and all that stuff so it can be of value. So everybody thinks if you keep it in the garage and it's nice and clean and you wax it and you do all kinds of stuff, it's going to be okay, but it's not the case.
It's a little bit more complicated mechanically wise. So yes, we definitely need to make sure that, I always try, even if the customer doesn't surrender the vehicle, I always try to give them a little bit of what I'm learning.
Yeah.
So they can move forward. And that's also, a lot of customers like that because they usually go to other places and they'll just give you an offer.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, we try to give them a little bit of, okay, well, just keep in mind that, every time that
some education.
Exactly. So a lot of single moms, that the husband
that are
works,
struggling right now too.
Yes, they don't know that kind of stuff. I didn't know that kind of stuff. So, now that I work in this industry, I get to learn a lot of stuff, and I like to pass that on. So we do get a lot of, husbands calling and say, hey, my wife is going to take it. And they're kind of hesitant because they're like, well, just, make sure that you're telling her everything. And we do. We actually do. So I take care
You're
of
upfront and transparent and personal and honest. A lot of qualities that a lot of women have. Now, you mentioned being in the automotive industry, and it's really a male-dominated field. But more and more women are joining the ranks of the automotive industry. Tell me about that.
Well,
we're being honest and transparent and upfront.
Yeah,
just like we do when we buy your car.
I mean, when I first initiated, which was almost a year ago, I was kind of overwhelmed because they would tell me, how are the tires? And I was like, they're black.
Did you kick them?
Yeah. Well, they look clean.
They look clean.
But, I have a great, my superiors are excellent, in guiding me through what I needed to know. And then me trying to, learn everything or overhear conversations. I learned a lot. So I feel that it is a struggle because sometimes, you can't compare 20 years experience to 0. Mm-hmm. But we can always learn.
But you know what? As somebody who comes with a 0 experience in anything brings something special too, brings light, brings curiosity, brings a lot of things, a lot of qualities that sometimes that person who's been there for 20 years is lacking.
Well, I don't think lack would be the word that I would use. But yes, I have run into a couple, especially with clients, telling me like, what do you know? You're
a woman.
You're giving me a low offer. How would you know? And,
well, let me show you.
And that has happened, and after that, I don't try to argue with our customers. I try to explain. So we did have an incident where it was a customer. He was super upset and he was a mechanic or used to be a mechanic. And he's like, why are you giving me this low offer? It has this and this and this. And I was like, okay, hail damage. So I was like, okay, sir, if you want to walk with me outside, and I can show you. And he's like, what are you going to know? And I was like, well, I might not know.
Did he say you're a woman?
No, he didn't.
Okay,
but
good.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But he did come outside with me, and he was just, grumpy in a bad mood. So I offered him coffee and snacks, and he got a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But when we walked outside, I told him, okay, well, it has an accident on the side, and, the tires are not good, and I have popped up the hood and I'm like, it's been dirty. It's been sitting there. Your engine light is on. It has hail damage. She's like, well, it doesn't hail in El Paso. And I was like, actually, 2 years ago, it had a slight, hail storm here. He's like,
And
oh,
the guy's
yeah,
going,
I remember.
"What? She's smart. Didn't outsmart her."
Yeah. So, and then he had like a sticker on the back it was a Denali vehicle. But it wasn't a Denali because it didn't have leather seats. So, I mean, I had prior obviously talked to one of my managers back then, and he was like, "It's not." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I kind of figured because it doesn't have." So there's a lot of features that I can spot or we can spot, and I try to pass that on. Now that I didn't know then, so when I got that customer, he was like, "Wow!" And then he started laughing. And actually, we're friends now. He's referred me a couple of customers.
Well, because you know what you're doing.
Yeah, so I bought 3 cars off of him now, and he's pretty good. So
Well, he didn't fool you.
He didn't, and he knew that. So when he came out, we came back in and I explained to him. He's like, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "All right, I'll take your offer."
Okay, you earn that respect. You earn that respect.
Okay,
So you're from here. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Yes, I'm from El Paso, born and raised. El Paso and Juarez, so I'm Hispanic and
Y bilingüe también.
y bilingüe también. And I moved to Dallas a couple of years ago, and I just couldn't leave El Paso. I missed it so much. Yes, I got homesick. I was there for 4 years, and finally I came back. I was a stay-at-home mom before this job, and like I said, I didn't know anything. I still have a lot to learn, and as soon as I started working here, I was like, I've been home. I haven't been, me for a little bit, being with the kids and stuff. So I came back, and then this happened. And a year later, here I am. I love what I do. I really do. And I think that's a very important part of a job. You need to like at least what you do. But I really love what I do. And I have very strong support, by my parents and my kids. So that's really great. And I mean, my bosses here, they're like, "If you need to go, get them." And I was like, "Yes, sometimes I do." But no, I try to be at work every day, and because I like to do what I do.
And you make a difference. And if you need to get a hold of Michelle Sotelo, she's at 915-834-2933. And take your car, and you will have a check right away.
Within an hour. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Anything you'd like to add?
No, just bring me your vehicles. We're available 24/7, literally.
Okay.
Text me.
So if we text you and we have a car in the garage, will you go look at it, or do they have to bring it in?
As of right now, I'm not able to.
Okay.
We'll try to work on that, but we would need the vehicle to be running there because we go through a couple of
checks.
inspections. Exactly. Okay. And the lighting sometimes, or just being able to move it and drive it around, test it. That gives us a lot of open field to be able to bump up our offers. So we do work off, if you go on to our Kelly Blue Book or WeBuyCarsElPaso.com, you may submit your VIN number. I will get it. I will contact you. And then we can go ahead and work up an appointment, or you can send me pictures or give me a little bit more insight onto the vehicle. Okay. We'll get to learn the vehicle, and then we'll provide you with the best offer possible.
There you go. Michelle Sotelo at 915-834-2933. We'll see you out there, and thank you all for joining us. Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are a mighty mujer.
Thank you so much. You too.
Have a great day.
The drop in temperatures means a drop in prices at Viva Ford. Make the new 2022 Ford F-150 your workhorse. Find yours at Viva Ford, built by you for you. Or drive away in a new 2022 Ford Escape. Head down to Viva Ford, where great pricing and friendly staff is waiting for you. What's your Viva style? It's what you want it to be. Find it at Viva Ford on the corner of I-10 and Red Road.
We'd like to hear what you think about today's conversation. Go to the Viva Auto Group Facebook page and like us. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned car or truck, we invite you to choose a Viva vehicle.